I definitely did see that knitting has its own language. And today I just want to go over some of those terms and phrases that you'll hear. And I'm not even talking about like the technical terms like knit two together, slip, slip, knit, which are techniques. And I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like community language, like whips, FOs, UFOs, those things. So some of those things I just said sounded crazy, or you remember when you first heard those things, it was like, what are people talking about? Just keep on watching. Hi, welcome back to my channel, OC Knits. I'm OC, and as you can see from my humble channel, that I'm new to this whole knitting content creator here on YouTube. And being new to YouTube and creating content is very exciting, but it's also very intimidating in so many ways. There's like so many new things that I have to learn, like learning how to edit these videos, learning how to feel comfortable speaking in front of the camera, and just learning to feel comfortable knowing that your content is going out there in the ethos for people and anyone to see it. But me being a new content creator really had me thinking about how I felt when I was a new knitter. I've been knitting now for 3 years, but I definitely remember what it felt like when I first started to knit. I even remember before I even learned how to knit as an adult, and I was even intimidated to go into a yarn store. I'm not talking about like those big chain stores like Michael's or Joann's, although I guess Joann's is no longer, but yeah, just going into like your local yarn store. I was so intimidated by that. Because going in there and just hearing all these knitters, to me who seem like professional lifelong knitters, talking about their yarn weights, talking about swatches, gauges, so many things. For me, I had no idea what they were talking about. And for me, it made me feel like I didn't belong, not understanding things. It really was intimidating. It's crazy. But over time, I let go of that fear and I just like dove in. And then I realized I didn't need to know everything at once. Like I can learn things as I grew with the craft. But as I was starting to grow with the craft, I definitely did see that knitting has its own language. And today I just want to go over some of those terms and phrases that you'll hear. Well, let's start with one of the words or phrases that you definitely hear in all knitting podcasts and most everybody says is whip. That means work in progress, WIP, whip. So the whip that I'm working on now while we're knitting and chatting is my Melange sweater by Petite Knit. I talk all about this in my podcast episode that I just posted, my episode 3. I just completed a Melange sweater, which was white and gray. And then I started this one, my scrappy version, because I wanted to have a sweater where I didn't feel like it was too precious to wear around the house. Because normally my knits, I'm like, they're too nice to just wear around the house. But this one's totally got to be my house sweater, doing chores, sleeping in, I don't care sweater, because I'm really not a scrappy type person, but this will be my around the house sweater. But I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm loving the way the colors are coming together. This is a drop shoulder construction. We'll start with the back panel here, and then you pick up for the left and the right shoulder. And then you knit down till you eventually join in the round to the front, and then you join the whole body in the round. And right now I'm just kind of working on the body. But yeah, so this is one of my whips or my works in progress. I definitely have many. I'm the type of person who loves working multiple projects, which actually brings us to the next phrase, which is, are you a monogamous knitter or not? So a monogamous knitter is someone who likes to start a project and finish that project before they start another one. I think that's beautiful, but that is absolutely not me. I love to have multiple projects because it really does depend on the mood that I'm in. Lately, I've really been enjoying working on this, so I've been working on this one a lot, but I have so many projects. Like see my little knitting stack. I have like a little sweater that I'm making for my son. I have a few projects. Again, check out my previous video, episode 3, which I talk about my works in progress. But yeah, I'm definitely not a monogamous knitter. I like different projects, different occasions. I like having a small project if I'm going out and about. I really do enjoy working with fingering weight projects, so I feel like I always have something that's kind of fingering weight too, but this one is DK weight. Mostly I'm using like 2 fingering weight strands held together, but nonetheless, this is DK weight. So sometimes I do like to go a little bit larger, a project that will finish a little bit quicker, but I normally have 3 whips going, and that's why it does take me a little bit longer to finish my projects. But I mean, knitting's a slow art and I'm never in any rush, so I just enjoy that. But let me know in the comments, are you a monogamous knitter? You like starting and finishing a project before you even think about casting on a new one? Or are you like me and you're just like, no, let me cast, or you might even cast the crazy amounts before you even get halfway through one project. But yeah, whichever way it brings you joy, I think go for it. But yeah, so that's monogamous knitter. And the next word that you probably always hear is FO, and that means finished object. I don't know about you, when I first started listening to knitting podcasts, I thought it was so weird how people were saying objects, like calling their knits objects, like, oh, this is my finished object and my next object that I'll be working on. I don't know why that sounded so weird to me. Is it just me? I'm like, I would say finished product or finished sweater, just call it what it is. But I find that I'm saying finished object now that I'm hearing the lingo so much, I'm finding it come out of my mouth. But I know initially when I heard it, I thought it sounded completely weird. It still sounds a little bit weird for me to say object, but nonetheless, if it works for you, let me know that I'm not alone in that. But yeah, finished object essentially is just items that you finish. I generally, for me, with my knitting, if I finish knitting it up, I consider that a finished object. A lot of people feel like, oh, I need to block it. I need to make sure I weave in all my ends before it's a finished object. For me, once the knitting's done, I consider it finished, and I'll get to weaving in the ends and blocking it later. So I wonder, are you the type that feels like you're done once the knitting's done, or you have to have everything perfectly done to consider a finished object? But so the next term, which I'm sure all of us can relate to, is UFOs. And no, I'm not talking about unidentified objects. I'm talking about unfinished objects. So just like we have finished objects, we have our unfinished objects. And those are those items that you've started. Maybe you've had these projects on for years and just haven't touched it in for years. That would be an unfinished object. Or it could be something, maybe it's weird. For myself, I consider something an unfinished object if I started knitting on it, but it's in my stash now, I haven't touched it in forever, and I'm not even thinking about it. I consider a whip like active whips. If I'm actively, although I might have multiple ones, but they're on my like to do, I'm actively working on it. So something like this blanket here, which I love this blanket. This is the Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose. Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful. The colors, can you see? I absolutely love this blanket. I would definitely consider this an unfinished object, a UFO, because I haven't touched it in forever. And I know a lot of people would have blankets, like you can have them on your works in progress for years. You just go to it here and there. But for me, like I'm literally not even thinking about it. I haven't knitted on it, but it's going to become one of my whips, where even though I might just do maybe a row or two every week or a couple of, I don't know, so many rows a month, I want to move it to my whips, my active whips, something that I'm actually working on. But right now it's just kind of sitting around and I haven't touched it in a while. But I love this. This is another perfect stash busting project. I think it looks beautiful because you have the one consistent color, which really brings everything together. But I definitely at the time consider it a UFO, but I'm going to move this up to my whips hopefully starting next week, so I can like actually start working on it. Another UFO, OMG. I have a few here. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but this one. So, oh my goodness, making a mess. I have my notes right here. I'm going to find the pattern. This one's called the Calamity Top, and it's by Winter's Weather Knits. Dear. So now I think I've been knitting now for 3 years, and I'm sure I started this project. Is this the front or back? I'm not even sure. Maybe this is the front. I'm pretty sure I started this project in my first year. So this is basically a 3-year-old project. I can't tell if this is clear or not, but so this is a summer knit that I started for my mother. My mother actually lives in Arizona. I'm here in California. My mother lives in Arizona. anyone who knows anything about Arizona, it gets crazy hot and it's always hot. Even though winters finally becomes like normal temperatures, but in the summer it's crazy hot. So I figured, I was so active and loving knitting all these woolly sweaters. I was like, I want to be able to knit my mom something which she'll be able to wear. So I cast this one on, but again, I was new to knitting. At the time, I really did not enjoy, I mean, I still don't care for purling, but I really hated knitting flat. So it was few things I didn't like. I didn't like knitting flat, and I wasn't comfortable with knitting with other fibers that were not wool. So this yarn here, and this I just bought like at Michael's. Oh no, I think I bought that at Joann's. This is Casey yarn, and is lyocell, 70% lyocell and 30% viscose. Can you see it? I think it's a beautiful color. My mom's favorite color is pink as well, but she likes it hot pink. So I bought this yarn, but at the time I just was not comfortable with knitting flat, and I really didn't like how slippery this was. I love working with metal needles, and I just worked with metal needles then, but I probably should have had wooden needles to help me. So I started it, but I just could not get any momentum working on it. But it's still a part of my UFOs. I haven't decided to frog it. And frogging is our next word. Frogging means simply to take out, to rip back. So if you have this project like this one and you decide you don't want to do it, you're like, I'm going to frog it. That means just to pull out the yarn and save the yarn for a different project. But yeah, I haven't decided if I want to frog it. I can't. I feel like I'm at the stage of my knitting where I can go back to this. So I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not going to frog it. I'm going to keep working on this. But frogging, OMG. When I first was watching a knitting podcast and I heard somebody say, I don't remember who I was watching, but I remember watching this blogger, and she was talking about her whips that she was working on. And at the time, even I know it took me a little bit to figure out what a whip meant, but she was saying, oh, I have this whip. I don't know if I should frog it or not. I haven't been working on it. I really don't like it. And I was just thinking, is she talking about what is frogging? I was literally thinking frogging is she wants to put some kind of frog emblem, logo, or stitching on her knit. I had no idea what it meant, but eventually I got the head like, oh, frogging means to rip out your knitting. And the funny thing is, all this time when people say frogging, now I know what it means. So every time watching the videos, I understand frogging means rip back. But still, until I was preparing to do this podcast, I still never knew why we would say frogging. I was like, how does this make sense with knitting? When I was researching, I just looked at the word frogging. We get that term because we're like, rip out our knitting, rip out. Rip it, get it? I thought that was so hilarious. Please let me know if you knew that's where the word derived from, rip it, or you'd wonder as well why we knitters say frogging when we're talking about knitting, but that's why apparently, because we're like, we need to rip it. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, so that's what frogging means, to rip out your knitting, to take it all the way out. And you know, although sometimes frogging may be painful in the moment, I think it's for the greater good. Like, I definitely had to frog some projects, and I think I'm one of those persons who, which actually this brings another term. I'm definitely a process knitter. A process knitter is someone who just enjoys the process of knitting. It's not even about the end result or the end product. You really just enjoy the calming factor of knitting, of the slow art of just creating a fiber and just creating clothes or creating an item. I'm definitely I think I'm a combination. I'm a process knitter. I really enjoy it, but I also I don't even know what the other phrase is. If you, I guess, a product knitter, you're in it for the product. But maybe there's some people out there just in it for the product, maybe. I definitely have knitted on some things which I didn't enjoy the process as much, but I really wanted the end result, so I just like muscled through it. But some people are really just the final results. They just love knitting because they want the final item, and maybe they don't care if they enjoy the process of it all. But yeah, I'm definitely a process knitter, so you might hear that phrase or term as well. Like, are you a process knitter, or you just knit for the end product? But yeah, so I guess I was saying that in terms of frogging, but I definitely had a project where I had to frog the whole thing at the end, but I wasn't even mad because I felt like I learned so much along the way. Like, I had knit this whole beautiful sweater by Lily Kay. Oh, I was part of the test now. I put a picture up, but I actually knit it too large for myself. Like, I knew I wouldn't get anywhere, and I love the pattern so much, and I love that yarn so much. I'm like, I'm not gonna just have it go to waste. and knit this beautiful thing but not wear it. So I totally frogged it, and I've then since used that yarn for different items, and I will definitely re-knit that sweater. I just now need to get some more yarn to knit it. But yeah, so frogging can definitely be a learning experience. It can be hard at first, but I think in the end sometimes frogging is necessary, you know, just to take it out and start over, get a fresh perspective, and actually, you know, make that yarn worthwhile. Use it. Enjoy what you make. I feel like that's the whole joy and purpose of creating and knitting, because you want to enjoy, like, you can tailor things to fit you. You want to be able to wear it. But also I do understand people who just do it because, you know, it helps with your sanity, the slow art. So I also understand that perspective. But let's see, next we have some other terms you might hear is KAL. It's spelled K-A-L, which acronym for knit along. So knit alongs are, I mean, they're essentially is getting people together. Either you're working on the same project, maybe you can have a sock knit along where everybody knits the same sock pattern, or you can just have a knit along, a generalized knit along where everybody is, oops, phone call, one moment. Sorry, I had to step away, but all good, I'm back. What was I talking about? Oh, I think I was talking about the next one that you might hear, MAL or make along. So MAL. So make along is just a little bit broader, which you can be knitting, any kind of craft essentially. Just maybe we're all making a sweater. It can be sewing a sweater, knitting a sweater, crocheting a sweater. The host, whoever hosts the make along or knit alongs, always have their own different terms, but it's just a great way to you know, join like the knitting community, a smaller niche where you actually get to communicate with people, see what people are working on. I have not yet joined a knit along, but I definitely want to. Or did I? I think maybe every time I come across knit alongs, I'm always at the tail end. I was like, but oh, this fits perfectly. So maybe I'll just start at the tail end joining, but I would love to find a knit along toward the beginning and actually get completely involved in community and chatting with people about it. So hopefully in the future I can join one of these knit alongs. But so that's all. Oh, well, I guess I should talk about blocking since I mentioned it earlier. But blocking is a phrase, another phrase too, that sounds so random. But blocking is essentially when you clean or wet your knits. So blocking could be a complete wet blocking where you completely immerse your knits in water and you can add some wool wash to it, and it just allows your knitting to like bloom and to fill out. So when you see like knits like this, sometimes the stitches could be uneven, but when you block it, especially with wool yarns, it blooms, completely fills out and grows in such a beautiful way where it evens out all your stitches. I just think blocking is a magical thing. You can stretch your outfits out. Let's say you knit your sleeves a little bit too short, but when you wet block it, you can stretch it out a little bit and pin it down. But yeah, so you might hear that a lot. And before I started knitting, I actually had no idea about wet blocking. Like, I've been crocheting for years, since junior high, and I just feel at my time, I feel like in the crocheting community, blocking is not such a big thing, but with knitting, it definitely is. You definitely hear that more, block your knits, block your knits. But now as I've done some crochet projects and clothes, I feel like I am starting to hear more the crocheters are actually blocking their knits and outfits. And you let me know if it's new to crochet or it's just in my head, but I feel like it's becoming more of a thing with crochet, but it's not as much as you hear with knitting, because I really do think it changes your stitches so much for knitting when you block your clothes. Well, hopefully you got something out of this. You might ask yourself, like, why is it so important to know these things? Because honestly, the knitting language and terms, it can feel like a barrier. It can feel like a barrier if you don't understand these things. It can be a huge blocker for you to actually get into the art and want to learn the art. I had so many barriers with knitting, like just feeling like I didn't know what I was talking about, just feeling like everybody were pros. I felt like everybody was pros. You go in the yarn store and I just felt lost. And so that was a barrier for me. And even when I started to knit and got over that aspect, it was scary reading the instructions, because for me, crochet just came so much easier. And I felt like crochet instructions were so much easier. You really just have single crochet, chain, double crochet, triple crochet. You just have those main stitches and you're going in different sections, but to me it just felt easier. But with knitting, there's so many terms, like technical terms that I didn't even touch on in this episode, but there's just so many terms, and these things can make people feel intimidated. But I just wanted to let you know, if you're new, don't feel intimidated. Just take things a step at a time. And I always say to folks, if I can knit, please trust me when I say you definitely can. Because I, at one point, never thought I'd be able to knit, never thought I'd be able to make clothes. For me, that seemed like an impossibility. So if I can do it, you can too. Don't let anything be a hindrance. And please do not feel embarrassed to ask questions. If you're watching a podcast, even if there's something that I was saying today and I didn't fully explain it, please leave a comment, leave a message, and just ask. Never feel embarrassed. I feel like everyone in the knitting community is so open, and everybody just wants to talk about their knitting, so they'll be more than welcome to explain what they're talking about. They'll explain the lingo and terms. Just do not feel embarrassed to ask. Just go for it. So hopefully you found some enjoyment from this video. I just thought it would be fun to like reminisce in some of these terms, because now as I'm knitting, I just say some of these things second nature and I don't even think about it. But when I remember, I'm like, whoa, I wasn't always like this. It was new to me at first too. And it was actually strange hearing how everybody was talking about whips and UFOs. But now it's second nature to me. So hopefully you guys found some enjoyment in this video, reminiscing, or hopefully if you're new, you learned something new from this video. But if you like this content, please like this channel and subscribe if you want to hear more things of this nature. I really enjoy just having this time to sit and chat. But yeah, so until next time, bye.